right. Hello, all you beautiful, wonderful, amazing, spectacular tea people, and welcome to another live stream. While we go through the various stages of loss. So today is in Taiwan, anyways. It is Friday, and so Friday means that. This Friday means that we did not get a last-minute reprieve. It does mean that the tariff, the de minima, all that sort of stuff has gone through. And we are not getting a last-minute reprieve from the current administration in the States. So we are going to be going through together all the stages of loss. Now, thankfully for me, this is some Fall Pear Mountain Oolong. Thankfully for me, I definitely wasn't in denial, right? So you got denial, you have anger, bargaining, sadness. I forget where they go. I always forget the bargaining one. Anyways, the point is, right now for me, anyways, I'm more sort of in the sadness phase. In the next couple days, I'll go to acceptance. I'll go to acceptance in the next couple days. And then we'll figure it out and it'll be okay. So we'll figure it out and all of us together, we will get through it. And in a minute, we'll talk about some of the things that are coming up that seem to be something that can happen. But today we are going to focus on this beautiful tea. And I have bought this beautiful tea. And I would have liked to have bought about 3 times as much of this beautiful tea. But considering I cannot actually send anything to my largest market, I did not buy 3 times as much of this beautiful tea as I would have liked to have bought of this beautiful tea. And we'll talk about it. It's a little bit unique this year. It's a little bit special. It's a little bit, what's the best way to describe it? It's hot. It's a hot weather Fall Pear Mountain this year, like really hot weather, unique fall tea for Pear Mountain. And it's kind of unique in the sense that it's a little bit later in the year. You can see it's picked on the 20th. And he, my buddy up on Pear Mountain he only picked one day. So usually for fall Pear Mountains, we usually get 3 days. And we'll talk a little bit about why it's only one day. And we'll talk about sort of the nature of the fall pick Pear Mountain teas. And we'll see why it's kind of unique. It's actually kind of unique. You can see here, see this leaf right here? So I'll hold it up to the various cameras here. And this style of leaf right here, so this style of leaf, you can see it's sort of been beaten up and this is what's happened to the leaf. That only happens when the leaf is hard, when it's lower down the branches, or it's really, really cold. And it wasn't really cold when this was picked. And so this is sort of a lower down the branches tea. And we'll talk about why that is. And you can see some of the leaves here are pretty big. We'll talk about that in a second. I just realized, you know what I really should have here? I did a story the other day with the, I got a high mountain groundhog, marmot. There we go. I remember the name. So we got I got a little toy of a marmot, put it in the feed the other day. People really enjoy that. I should probably have it here. It should be my tea pet. Although with that type of plastic, I do not want to get it wet. No, I do not want to get it wet. And I certainly don't want to get it wet and then consume it. That is it was not a high quality toy, that marmot. This tea is unique this year. It's a really, really interesting tea. It has so many of the characteristics of a lower elevation tea mixed with a higher elevation tea. It's really, really unique. It's a really, really unique tea. And it also makes me think that maybe like lower down the tea leaves, maybe we should start experimenting with stuff like that. Anyways, so what's the story with this tea? Again, August the 20th, it was a late pick and only one day. Now, the reason it was only one day is because my buddy, after the springtime pick, up on his beautiful mountain retreat up on Pear Mountain, maybe retreat's too strong a word. It's, it's like a corrugated house up there. And what they've done is what's called shoujian. So what they've gone is if you look back in the feed way back to when I started, you can actually see some of the places in the same area where they do this. And so imagine you have imagine here is the tree, right? So here is the tea tree. Here you've got thicker branches, and then as it comes up here, they're thinner branches, and then up here you're picking off the top. Now what happens is if these branches, these sort of thinner branches, get too much or get too thick or do too much, then you're getting less of a yield. And so what they do is they come through and they cut right here, and they cut off, just totally cut off the thinner branches that have gotten too thick. And what that does, obviously what that does straight off the bat is knock back extraordinarily high the yield for the next time they pick, which is this yield right here. So like I said, they usually get about three pickings or 3 days of picking of this tea. And this year they only had 1 day. And the reason was because they went back and do that. So the fall pick knocks back by 1/3. The winter pick is knocked back by half. But then next year, the spring pick is like way, way better. It's so much better. So next year's spring pick, the yield is just huge. And then that lasts usually between 3 to 5 years, depending on how old the tea plants are and how they're fertilized and all these various other things. And the reason they do that, of course, is because a tea plant, if you let a tea plant grow, it turns into a big old bush. Now, you might see I've got my eye on some other things. They're not giant, but they're close enough to giant to scare the crap out of you. But there's the Asian hornets. These are we won't call them giant Asian hornets. We'll call them oversized Asian hornets. And they're after my bees. And they found my beehive here, and so they're coming around. And what they'll actually do is they'll fly around like this. And then when the bees are coming and going, they'll catch a bee and then grab it and then fly away and eat it in another spot. And they're not aggressive to humans in the least. It's not dangerous for me. It's not dangerous for anybody in the back porch here. But I hate the damn things, and I might have to build a cage for my bees. I already have like teeth where they can't get into the thing, but I might have to buy a cage. Just got another bee. They're eating my bees. Anyways, what is the flavor of this tea? Why does it make it so hot weather? Like I said, this is a really hot weather tea, right? So why is it so hot weather? Well, first off the bat, the upfront flavors are sort of lower elevation oolong-y type of flavors. And the lower elevation flavors, what would that be? Earthier vegetal is the best way to think about it, right? So earthier, lower down, earthier vegetal, think about walking through a slightly dry-ish grasslandy thing, still with water around, but not the high mountain, super fertile, wet grassiness that you would get from the sort of the spring or the wintertime high mountain oolongs. It's much more sort of a lower elevation feel, but without the bitterness, without the astringency, and without the lower elevation drag on a tea. And what's really unique about this one is, so what are the different flavors? Like there's no floral on this at all, like none. Like I could go in there and be like, okay, yes, there is a touch of blah, blah, blah. But compared to the other seasons, there's no floral. What we're actually looking at with this tea is the real sort of, I would say with this one, it's almost mango, sort of the orangey, apricot-y mango fruit flavors that you get sometimes with these teas in the summertime. But this one is like orangey, apricot, mango-y, really, 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 really strong, and basically not much else, right? You're not getting, like I said, you're not getting a lot of the vegetal. like for example, there's the Alpine white. Like the Alpine white is just like this blast of chin floral from the high mountains. Really, really different. And this is picked obviously a little bit later, and so this is picked a little bit later, and it's got a very different feel to it. A very, very, very different feel. Now, I don't know if you can see it, it's flying behind me, but these wasps, they're not actually that bad. They only take like maybe a bee every 10 minutes, but I'm going to have to do something about the bees or about the wasps. I want my bees to be okay. Yeah, so why don't we go back to a little bit of unpleasantness, the tariffs. So what's happened with the tariffs? Nothing. The tariffs have gone ahead, I guess, as far as I can tell at this point in the game. There was a big, the BBC is covering it now, the CNN, all the mainstream media, they're all covering the tariff right now. What's really interesting to me is that they're not really covering the there's actually, like, I think it was the CNN one. No, it was the BBC one actually that actually told the truth. And what's going to happen with that? Well, who is going to benefit the most from it is actually China. China is going to benefit the most from the de minimis thing. It sounds crazy, but they've had enough time to deal with the rules. Their de minimis stopped in de minimis or whatever it's called stopped in May. And so what we're actually looking at now is we're looking at the Chinese actually benefiting because they've known the rules a little bit longer. And also they have, because a lot of these places have set up shops in the United States, they're leveraging sort of state-sponsored trade to move all this stuff into the States. And so, ironically, or not, the Chinese are actually benefiting the most from the getting rid of the de minimis thing. But what is the sort of on the outside of this, on the edges of all of these stories, there is this thing where less than $100, if it's marked as a gift, will not be charged tariff duties, and it will go right through. Now, that is theoretically what's going to happen. That was one of those big. You can see they're not particularly aggressive, but that was one of those big. We'll call them large Asian hornets. They're not the giant Asian hornet fellows, or actually ladies, as I should say. $100 or less and marked as a gift can get through, theoretically, except, of course, that most of the world is not shipping any packages, any smaller packages to the United States right now. So most of the countries are not shipping small packages to the United States. So no one can take advantage of that. Now, in the future, who knows? Maybe I will be taking many donations, and then for your donation, perhaps I will gift you some tea. All right, so we will set up a route for that. However, we're going to do it. But like I said, I talked about it at the start, moving through the various parts of the acceptance of loss. Right now, for me, anyways, I'm sort of at the sadness phase, because the end of these rules and where we're going into the next couple months and years it's sad. It's sad. The tea charity, yes. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know whether I'd use that word. More like a tea enhancement organization, a tea support organization. If I start using the term charity, I think there might be more impact on my life. But yeah, perhaps a tea support system, a tea farmer support system. Maybe that's a good tea farmer support system. And I will charge administrative fees, as all good NGOs do. You know, so I'll just become that, and I'll get some USAID money, and I'll just change the color of my packaging. To I'll stop there. But anyways, the point is that we'll figure it out. But there are a lot of people all over the world right now. Like Mountain Stream Teas, we're okay. You know, like we talked about this. I've been preparing this for a long time, and so we're okay. But there's a lot of people that are going to be caught really off guard by this, and it's going to be tough, right? So I feel, you know, a deep sadness for sort of the way things are going to change. Now, after sadness comes, of course, what is bargaining? Does anybody know? Is bargaining before or after sadness? I should have looked at the triangle or the stages or whatever it is. Anyways, I think it's before sadness. It makes sense to be before sadness. But like I said, thankfully, I've skipped a lot of the stages, and we're just now in sadness. And next we'll go to acceptance, and then we'll go to dealing with it. And but this doesn't hurt the big guys. Not really. But it does hurt the small guys. It does hurt the small guys. And of course, it does hurt the big guys. I'm not saying it doesn't, but people with or companies with a lot more resources are going to find the loopholes much faster than the people who might be doing things the right way. Let's put it that way. Remember, too, that a lot of these things like direct-to-consumer type stuff is really good people. You know, like, yeah, okay, whatever. But a lot of it is really good people. Thanks for explaining. Sorry it happened. Please update when you can ship to US-based buyers again. I just drank my last Valencia orange. And I've been getting wonderful messages just like that from many different people. And unfortunately, again, which is part of the sadness part of it, is, you know, there's a lot of people that have put a lot of expectations on creating a life, on creating a space and a life based off of the rules as they were up until yesterday. And it sucks. But like I said, we'll get through it. You know, we'll figure it out. And so here are my plans for now. Right now, the entire world is shut down shipping to the United States. I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know what the pain point is for them to change the rules to allow things to happen again. I don't know what that is. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know anything about it. But it will happen eventually. And the way the rules are set up right now, you can pay like I guess for Taiwan, it would be 20%. Some of the places do that already. But the way it's supposed to be is you pay the 20% upfront, right? You pay it when you do the shipping. And so, you know, as things go forward, those rules will be set and it'll be okay. There's also going to be that less than $100. Anyways, the rumor is, of course, that less than $100, you're going to be able to have that. If it's a gift for less than $100, you'll be able to just sort of ship it in. So that would handle a lot of the issues of the things that I do as well. After I set up my foundation. And you can see there's more and more of the big guys coming. So I'm going to have to figure something out. It's the fall. It's what they do, unfortunately. And they're not aggressive unless you go to their nest. So hopefully their nest is not somewhere that's going to be hurting people. Anyways, let's keep going. If this goes longer than, say, a couple weeks and I can't ship tea, I'm going to have to do a sale for people that I can ship to, just to sort of keep the lights on, keep the flat cash flow going. Right now, I am down a lot in the sense of orders. It's really brutal. It's really brutal. I get to spend more time with my kids. You know, yay, okay. But I did that all summer. You know, like we're getting into September. It's time for me to be working and making money so that next summer we can do the same thing. And so I might have to do some sort of sale for the countries that I can still ship to. That's if things haven't changed within maybe a month or so. There's also the but like I said, I don't think this is going to last that long. I just don't see how it could. Too much of the world runs on little brown packages shipped to the United States. Like it really does. Too much of the world runs on that. And what it'll wind up being will be that mix, sort of a mix between sort of small packagey, loophole-y type of things that'll be able to come up, and those types of things that will happen. And then the other side of it will be orders that are larger. You know, I will, you know, the orders that are larger to the United States, basically people like me will just have to take a hit. Excuse me. Basically people like me will have to take a hit. And so we'll be taking a hit, and consumers will be taking a hit. And that's just basically what will have to happen with the larger orders. Now, if things get really, really, really bad, maybe we'll start setting up group buys, and we'll start setting up other things. But that's all in the future, right? Right now, you can't ship to the United States, right? You just can't do it. There is no shipping to the United States unless, I don't even know. I think DHL shut down everything to the States too. So like there's literally, unless I think I mean, I'm sure you could do it sort of if you bought like $1 million worth and put it on a boat. You could probably do something like that. But literally, you know, the only way you can get tea back from Taiwan into North America is like fly it yourself. And who knows? Maybe I should do a tea trip, right? Maybe I should. Well, I'm probably going to start doing tea trips again, just because we're going to need some sort of income. And so when people are traveling through, I can do tea trips. Because you know, like I could always go back to the soul destroying job of teaching English in Asian education, but I don't think I'm going to do that. You know, like I'll wait at least a year before I have to do something like that. DHL been hitting people all over the head with crazy fees before de minimis even ended, processing fees and all. Well, that's it exactly, right? And so much of the world runs on that because it's all over the world, right? I mean, even going into Europe and these types of places, you know, there's tariffs, but there is, if it's less than 150 euros or whatever it is, it's just like fast. It goes through fast. It goes through fast. It goes through fast. And so it'll be something like that. I've been talking about that for years, that eventually it'll be something like that. It'll be less than a certain amount. You just pay up front, $10 a package or whatever it is, and it'll get through. Because you can't do it. And especially considering now with technology and all these different things, it's absurd. It's just absurd. It's just absurd. But something very, very, very important to keep in mind as you go through the stages of grief with all of this, with losing your tea and things like that, stay away from the anger phase. It doesn't help, right? Well, anger's healthy. You should have it. I know that there's huge swaths of the American population, usually on the West Coast and the East Coast, that stay away from negative emotions. But I don't think negative emotions are a problem. The problem are repressed negative emotions. And in general, in this type of situation, anger is not the best use of your energy, because nothing will be changed with anger. Certainly not. Packages won't be delivered unless you pay it. Yeah, well, they're holding the world for ransom right now, right? It's well, it's a mafia shakedown. That's all it is. right? It'd be terrible if something happened to that small business of yours. It'd be terrible if if your sweatshops went out of business. All these types of things, and chances are, if you're listening to this, then you are absolutely not making those decisions. We are the small people getting tossed around on the seas of international trade. And like I said, I hope you guys are okay. We're okay, right? Not complaining, not like we prepared for this for a long time. I have definitely price flexibility. I own every single leaf of tea on the website. And so we can change the pricing, and we have absolute flexibility for what we're doing. A lot of people don't. And because a lot of people don't, there's a lot of suffering right now. And, obviously that makes me sad. There's obviously so much better ways to do this, right? There's so many better ways to do this than the way it's being done right now. Anyways, eventually, you guys will all be able to sample this beautiful fall Pear Mountain Oolong. It's not as delicate as in years past, but it's got that richness of flavor. As you can see, I'm not speaking as much right now, so I'm not used to speaking so much. But it's got a richness of flavor, sort of like a lower elevation oolong, but much smoother. It's really fascinating what's happening with this oolong right now. And the aftertaste is gorgeous. Really, really, really beautiful. Like it's got that sort of that mango, peachy fruitness in the aftertaste. And hopefully you guys will be able to sample it in a couple weeks. Hopefully. So our mutual friend said that if you do not use the U.S. Postal Service but use DHL for over $100, you avoid the tariffs. Did not realize DHL shut down. I know it could be more expensive though. Sad for sure, yeah. Our mutual friend said, listen, for when it comes to DHL and all that stuff, nobody knows yet. But DHL, I know, has shut down going to the States. So DHL just won't do it because they have no idea what's going on. Now, they might be doing it from China, right? So if you are sending stuff from China, it might work. And just, on YouTube, I don't know what the top fans thing is. so you got the crown in number one. I have no idea. I didn't do that. I don't know why it's doing that on YouTube with your comment, but whatever, who cares? That's just another random thing for YouTube that likes to add in things and do things like that. If you're on YouTube, you can see I just lit off the fireworks there. Anyways, what we're waiting for is what actually happens on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday next week, when actual stuff happens. And, DHL from Taiwan is brutal, absolutely brutal. I think if DHL can piggyback on other things in other countries, they can be okay. But for Taiwan, I guess not a lot of people use DHL to buy stuff in Taiwan and ship it to the States. It's brutal. It's extraordinarily expensive. It's just awful. Like a package, you're looking at $70, $80 a package to send it. And they're not very nice. DHL, they're just not easy to work with. So I am just waiting for, peon mail, the peasant mail, There we go. When the peasant mail opens up again, which it will, right? Remember, peasants have to send things. We all have to receive and send things to each other as peasants. So when the peasant mail opens up again, I'm sure we'll figure out a way to do it. Until then, we are kind of screwed. Unless you're in anywhere else other than the United States. I've been thinking about doing like targeted advertisements to other markets and doing other things. Problem is, it's all priced in US dollars, right? So that's the global trade. So the Mafia Don has said, it'd be terrible if something happened to your international trade there, wouldn't it? Oh, you have a brown envelope for me in the form of 20% tariffs? Oh, we'll see what happens. Oh, maybe that international trade will be okay. And at this point, we should all be used to it. It's been that way throughout history. But I'm hoping that in the future we can get some crypto rails up and running and avoid some of this stuff. But we'll just see what happens. We'll just see what happens. Now you can see here, this is the tea, and it's huge leaves, big, hard, strong leaves, which introduces sort of a bit of a harshness to the tea in the context of some things, but in other things, it's really, really nice, right? So what you're looking at here is the beautiful sort of fruit flavors, and you can see it's almost got like a snow-picked color to the liqueur. It's got like this sort of this golden color to it, which is, pretty nice, right? Pretty nice. Overall, it's a decent pick this year, right? Overall, it's a decent pick, for sure. And it's got the nice bug bites to let you know that it's probably safe, right? You got to look at the tests, of course. You got to listen to your body, but bug bites on tea leaves are always a very, very, very good sign. So back in the day, I used to do all those educational things where I'd like teach everybody how to tell the difference between the seasons of the tea leaves and all that type of stuff. And I don't really do that anymore. And I don't know, maybe that's, if I have some extra time, I'll start doing sort of that educational type stuff again. But basically, I just ran out of time. You wonderful tea people just got me so busy that I couldn't do the educational stuff anymore. It'll also help if I can film out here and not turn into the Wicked Witch of the West or whatever. It's summertime still. We need to have a typhoon or two to wipe away the summer before we get into the wintertime. And then I'll be able to come out here and be out here longer. But anyways, I think that's about it. So Fall Pear Mountain, I've ordered it. I'll probably post about it. This month's subscription box will go out a little bit later to the people it can go out to. To the American folks, it will just be packed and be waiting to go. He said he ordered some tea from China and they paid the tariffs on their end. He was surprised. You're right. They can afford it. Well, this is the way it works, right? So say it's declared value. And so China has already been doing it, right? They started in May. And so say, for example, you bought $200 worth of tea in China. Well, they declare the value as $20 and then they pay $2 in tariffs, right? Oh, we'll take care of it. Well, Well, no, they just lie, right? They declare the wrong value for the tea, or they send it as a gift or whatever, right? And then they ship it over. And so that's what's happening in China right now, and that's how they're getting away with it. Now, I'm not going to do anything like that. That would never happen here. I'll set up a foundation for doing it, an NGO. But that sort of will be the future for some of these things, for some companies, obviously not me. But for some of the things, that's what's going to happen in the future. And, 20% tariffs is not the end of the world. I think it'll be knocked down in the future. I think it will be knocked down. How do you feel the Coastal Mountain Range greener oolong compared to general Central Mountain Range oolong? Compare. So that's easy. It's muddy and richer and saltier. So tea nerd answer. The mountains behind me are limestone based, marble based, with some shale, and so that mixes together. And as it comes off the mountains, it creates well drained, slightly acidic soil that creates the great growing conditions for tea. The coastal mountain range, which is over there, is mud. It's mud based. It's much more fertile, and it's got just more mud, and so it's thicker, and so it's still okay for tea. Although sometimes there's too much rain and it washes it out. But if you get it the right way, it's just amazing, amazing. And when that happens, it just works out really, really well. But what it brings into is, because it gets sort of the rain off the ocean, there's more sort of salty content to it, so that the taste itself is slightly more salty. Hence the deep water coastal mountain oolong. And then it will also have more of a rich flavor to it, where you're getting different flavors that are sort of lower on the palate but still pleasant. So they're not lower on the palate like lower elevation. They're lower on the palate in the context of just more stuff in the leaves. And so that's why it's so unique, and that's why it does well with a little bit higher oxidization, because the higher oxidization brings in that minerality and brings out the stuff in there, brings out a real strong fruit flavor that's quite unique, and you can't get it in other parts of Taiwan. Anyways, hope that answers your question. That explains it. Go and ask him. Yeah. So that's how they do it. That's how they do it. I had a buddy who was bringing in huge amounts of tea, and that's all they did from China, right? Doing the kombucha stuff, and so like tons of tea, and so that's how they did it. And I don't know how they get around that stuff, but what they do is they just that's how they get around it. Remember, it's just the declared value. And if they're not using, like, the idea for them, of course, is to do what's called harmonized, whatever. But basically, total information awareness. And so they want to be able to put all those together, but they haven't done that yet. Thanks. I was curious about how you would describe it. I don't know. Do you agree? But that's how I describe sort of the flavor characteristics and how they go. Anyways, my phone is just about out of battery. I didn't think it would last this long, but I'm always happy to talk to people. Fall Pear Mountain will arrive next week, and I will pack it up, and it will sit there waiting for my American friends. It'll just be waiting there. I think next weekend I'll do if things haven't changed yet, I'll release some teas for everybody else in the world. And anyways, from what I've tried, it seems accurate. Yeah. And remember, last year's was better than this year's. Although I've been sampling this year's every once in a while. It's still okay. I was a little bit disappointed in it, but for the price, great value. It's awesome. Really good. Anyways, I got to go. My phone's about to die. Thank you, everybody, for watching wherever you are in the world. I certainly hope you have an amazing morning, evening, night, afternoon. Have a great sleep. Have a wonderful day tomorrow. Thank you for watching. And let's hope I can ship tea to the United States soon.